Hello once again and welcome, and thank you for listening to Willow Talk. Adam Peacock here alongside Brad Haddin and Alyssa Healy, who have got, differing kind of lids on today in terms of their hats. Heels in the Sydney Sixers and Hads in a sky blue Piggly Wiggly trucker hat.
That's his favourite.
I've had a couple of ones like this sent, but before we start today...
Oh, okay. Okay, you're hosting, are you?
I am at the moment.
Okay.
So, by the look of this,
you will be shortly.
Read this, you might be out anyway. Remember we spoke about how good Peacock would be on tour? Like Hads.
We gave him one token.
I'm dropping... We can take that back. And I'll tell you why. Hads, I'm dropping him in it.
Stitch up.
Feathers is useless tourist. Your banter was right. He's only interested in punting and sleeping. That's about it.
Wrong.
Cannot drink.
Wrong.
Never has been able to. He's famous for getting on the Bacardi breezes after a couple of beers.
21 years ago.
Oh my God, I rate that. Let's bring him.
I'm not touring with you two. You get laughed out of the RSL.
Who? Name names.
I'm never dropping anyone in it, but what I tell you
Clearly
what.
it's a relative.
I do like him. Is that true?
Half.
Which half?
Please tell me the breezes are a thing.
The sleeping, yes, love sleep, because I've got a few too many children at home, so whenever I do go away, he sleeps at a premium.
No.
A few too many children. Do you want to a
Which
chance
one
to
do you want to get
reword
rid of?
that?
No, there's just a
Oh,
lot
you
of
love
people
them
in
all
our house.
equally?
I love them
Yeah,
all
yeah,
equally,
right.
but
Yeah.
sometimes you need to get away.
okay.
You know, hey, come back to me in a few years' time and you'll be able to recognise this aspect of life. Being able to have a little flutter, it does kind of lend itself going away with the boys. There's no golf in there. There's no mention of tequila. There's no such matters as like euchre. So I don't think this person knows me as well as they think they know me.
Nah, I don't agree. I think he knows you well, and I'm going to run with him.
Well, take me to the IPL and find out.
Well, I would be embarrassed to sit next to you if you're drinking breezes and falling asleep.
Yeah.
You can come with me, Adam.
Thanks, Heels.
Oh, my
Appreciate it.
God.
Golf
Hans
trip.
isn't partial to a little raspberry cruiser.
Nah,
Look at him.
no
Look at
way.
him. Yep, he will. We'll get him round.
Velvety, no hangover.
What about the one that we used to have at State Cup? We will get in the cricket in a sec. State Cup touch footy, we always used to go. It was tradition for our team, and I don't know if you've had a traditional drink as a team that you all must have at one point in the evening if something goes well. Yours is probably Corona here, Hads. It was called the Green Rat.
The green rat.
Midorian milk.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Thought touch football people were weird.
Well, this
Oh, you
isn't.
married one.
This isn't condoning drinking, but when I first came into the New South Wales side, a player that shall not be named but did captain Australia at one point, actually supplied me with a turbo shandy, which is a beer with a Smirnoff Double Black in it.
Whoa.
Yep.
That's an acceleration of proceedings.
Yep. It was good fun.
How many?
Delicious.
2.
See, that's a tourist. Not you just drinking the Smirnoff and falling asleep
No,
by yourself.
that's someone in a gutter within 2 hours.
I didn't have shoes on, so yeah, it fit in nicely.
Drink responsibly, everyone.
Yes.
Let's get into
All fast,
what
all
is coming up today. Yeah, drink irresponsibly if you feel like it, just not all the time.
Don't drink and drive.
Break down Australia's semi-final loss to India in the Champions Trophy semi-final in Dubai. We're going to do that. We're going to look at the upcoming Shield round and the rest of the season, and it enters into the business end of the competition. And Sundries and Buff Lehman has had a fair old whack about a topic in cricket, and we'll get to that a bit later on. Housekeeping, as always, though, apart from sledging of the host to start things on Willow Talk.
Stop sledging.
Don't forget to fill out our latest survey for your chance to win a Grey Nick scoop bat and a Willow Talk trucker hat. We've got a number to give away. Find the survey in the episode notes. We've already had some great feedback, but keen on more, so help us out so we can help you get some great guests on, some little segment ideas, whatever direction you feel the show is going in. Let us know. And hit us up on social media if you want to get in touch with the show by searching Willow Talk Podcast on TikTok and Instagram, like a former friend of mine has with Hads, obviously. I didn't know your DMs were working again on Instagram. How's that crypto business of yours going that you're investing in a couple of months? Are you back, by the way?
Mate,
Unhacked?
I'm staying out of this.
Alex on Instagram has got in touch. Question for Midge. And Starkey, but seeing
We're not
Midge is here, it's all you. For the topic of if you could play cricket anywhere in the world, where would it be? How about gracing your local club, the mighty Terry Hills Wolves, for your presence for the President's Cup next year? It's a pre-season inter-club showdown at the home of cricket, Terry Hills Oval, which is literally a walk from your house. The team reckons they see you enough around, especially at the club's spiritual watering hole, the Terry Hills Tavern. So why not make it official? We can bribe you guys with some club hats.
A little bit sprung there. But I'm very surprised that they play a lot of cricket there, because I've had to do running sessions on that oval and I've rolled my ankle 16 times on the bumpy outfield. So just let us know when and where. I mean, you might end up seeing an appearance, but with the threat of a hat, why not?
Was that running session after they spotted you at the Terry Hills Tavern?
Yeah, probably on the way home.
I can understand why you rolled your ankle.
Imagine that rocking up for an inter-club in August, September, get back into it, and you see Mitch Stark about 50 metres away at the top of his run going, with the new cherry.
It's not a big field, and the cars are quite close to the wicket, so
you could bounce one in the full in the car park. Stuart says, just wanted to say, love the pod. Great mix of people, comedy, stories and insights. It's actually reignited a previous love of cricket. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Played from 12 to 26. Loved it. I think I burnt myself out one year coaching an under-15s boys group, a women's team, and playing senior men's myself. Totally turned my back on cricket as T20 started to change the game I loved, and it's all happened about the same time as aforementioned coaching life. Started listening to the pod over a year ago. Watched loads more cricket again. Still don't care for T20 much. Fair enough. Even keeping an eye on the Oz women's team now, as I've heard from some of the players, and get some great insight into their character. I'm too old to get back playing, so golf will have to do. Anywho, great. Keep up the good work. Well, that's a lovely story. A reattraction to the game.
I'd take Stuart on a tour.
Yeah, he can come.
Sounds like you take anyone but me. Well, it sounds like.
You're also never too old to start playing again, I think. So, Stuart, get back into it.
Kailas, this is a cool story. G'day, guys. Just wanted to let you know that I've been loving the pod all the way from Morocco on a solo surf trip for a month.
Oh, my God, that's so cool.
Been unreal to fill in the time between surfs, and it's got me frothing already to get back home into some cricket and also some golf. See, it's working, Heels. It's working.
I just like it pointed out that apparently in the survey we talk a bit too much golf from one end, and then on the other end of the spectrum it seems like we don't talk enough golf. So we've got to find a middle ground.
Yeah.
Once an episode.
I'll look forward in a couple of months to saying, Willow Talk brought to you proudly by TaylorMade. I remember Hads coming to Port Macquarie for an exhibition match. He was just a legend. Right on. Cheers, guys. So, Kale, enjoy your surf trip. Stay safe over there in Morocco, but beautiful part of the world. And, enjoy the waves. We also have an update from Phil and the team at the Napa Valley Cricket Club, which we're going to say for next Tuesday's episode.
Yes.
There you go, a little teaser. And we're so close to our target of 250 reviews on Apple. We want to get there on the weekend, by the weekend, end of the Champions Trophy. We're only a couple away.
What sort of merch do they want?
I think that should go in the survey as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a question there about merchandise, but we want to know what people want, because Hads has offered to sponsor it. So
our very own range of Bacardi breezes, I propose.
I heard bucket hats.
Bucket hats.
What about
there were bucket hats?
Corduroy hats?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Corduroy hats.
Well, they're your new favourite. I'm surprised you're not wearing yours.
Oh, you wear cord hats? Yeah, you do.
I've got a lot of hats. This show has increased my hats a lot. But just tell us what you want, and I think I can deliver. Corduroy hats, trucker hats will be there.
Bucket hats.
Who wears bucket hats?
Me.
People that drink
on
breezes.
the golf course. Yep.
Champions Trophy. Let's get into it. Australia out at the semi-final stage, beaten by India by 4 wickets, 11 balls remaining in Dubai. Australia set India 265 to win after being bowled out halfway through the last over. India 6 down when they reached the target with those 11 balls to spare. Steve Smith, 73, top scored. Virat Kohli, man of the match, 84. KO Rahul got India home, racing along for a 42 not out off 34. Mohammad Shami looked dangerous, as he always does when he's anywhere near full fitness, 3 for 48. What's the key takeaway from this, from an Australian perspective? First up, guys.
It's a hard one to dissect. I think we probably didn't cash in on some of the starts we got. We got, 3 or 4 key partnerships, but nothing really went on to make a substantial one to get us to that 270, 280, probably plus that at that point in time to really get us in the hunt. Obviously, India got it with 11 balls to spare, but had a little bit left in the tank. But to put some pressure on that Indian batting lineup, we needed 280 plus. So, yeah, it's I don't know, a frustrating one, and obviously disappointed to lose in a semi-final, but I thought India played really well, and they get to host a final now in Dubai, which is great. I didn't mean to say that like that, but good on them. They've played good cricket.
If only we had cricket, literal crickets in no. Get your point, Heels.
Yeah.
Hads?
Well, I thought Australia got a pass mark, actually. I think I thought 264 on that wicket was going to be enough. I thought the big wicket was Steve Smith. He was 73 off 96 balls. I thought he and Kohli showed their class on that surface. They didn't hit a lot of boundaries, but they looked in control. I thought if he could have taken a little bit deeper or a chance to get around 300, then, and I think straight away you're right in the game. But I thought Ellis did well. It was an interesting selection, I think, with Cooper Conley. But all around, with the players that they had out, the strength that India had, the surface was in their favour. I think they put up a really good fight. The better team won, but we put up a good fight.
So many times we've sat here over the last 6 to 12 months and said the selectors haven't got a lot wrong at all. However, on this occasion, bringing in Cooper Conley and bringing in Tanveer Sangha for Spencer Johnson. So we sat here in our previous episode saying that Jake Fraser-McGurk, you in particular, had said he could be the wild card. Didn't get a go. Selections. I mean, do you reflect and go, didn't get him right? Because Tanveer, as much as he deserves a spot, none for 41 off 6. What do you reckon?
Well, it's a hard one to say now. Yeah. Like, I think at the time, looking at that surface, you're naturally going to go with that extra spinner, and we spoke about it leading into the game that he could come into play. I was surprised that it was for Spencer Johnson. I would have thought maybe Ben Dwarshus or someone like that may have missed out, but knowing the skills he's got, he's quite valuable. So that was the toss-up at the start. But interesting 11 when you're going to win the toss and bat, I think, more so. I think if you're going to pick that 11, you're maybe going to look to have a bowl first, in my opinion, and utilise the spin while you've got it, because you know that the ball's going to get harder to hang on to, the wicket's going to get a little bit easier to bat on as the night progresses. So, yeah, in hindsight, maybe things could have been done differently, but in saying that, they back the 11 that you pick, and obviously Cooper Conley must be showcasing some good form in the nets, and looking the goods to get the nod in there, and obviously didn't pay off, but you put in Jake Fraser-McGurk, you might have also got a duck, and we're having the same conversation. So we don't really ever know, but you'd back your 11 that you pick, I would have thought.
Yeah, you back your 11. I'm not against the leg spinner playing, and I understand why they played Cooper Conley because of his options you give him with the ball, and you could just see the Travis Head's reaction when he was opening the batting with the surface in the first few balls, took the surface and jumped. But I don't. They rolled the dice with him at the top of the order. I think what we've seen of young Cooper Conley, he's played well at the back end of the game.
9-ball duck for those who missed it. Yeah. And he played and missed 6 times.
Yeah, and eventually nicked one. So whether if they had their time over again, yes, still pick him, but could you have opened with someone like Josh Inglis, who's done it with success, Alex Carey? You've got Steve Smith, who's a genuine option, I think, at the top of the order, especially on that surface. And as you said, Hills, if they were always going to bat, maybe then you could have looked at maybe playing Jake Fraser-McGurk. But I understand why they played him is because of the bowling. Yep. But I probably would have had him in a different spot.
You just wonder, my initial reaction when I saw the 11 was, what's he done wrong, Fraser-McGurk? Because he was originally in the squad, Cooper Conley wasn't. But you're saying it was more a match-up selection rather than anything that Jake might have done wrong on tour or whatever.
Well, you look at the way they shaped up with the ball, and Cooper Conley actually got one of the first cracks bowling as well. Change. So that probably came into the selection thoughts that we're actually going to use him with the ball. He offers that skill over Jake Fraser-McGurk. So I think that naturally came into play. I think Jake got the crack in Sri Lanka. I think even just talking to a few people about what they were trying over there, and they're trying to get people in form for the Champions Trophy. He had a red-hot crack, didn't quite get the job done. So you can kind of see maybe why they went a different direction, but that extra bowling option definitely helped Cooper.
Obviously it didn't happen a lot to you guys. Maybe at the start of your careers thought you were ready for a selection and you didn't get it, and you get told the bad news, oh, sorry, you're not in this 11. Have you got memories of that and how you take it and how you get over it and who you talk to in the first 20 minutes after finding out? Not saying that Jake went through this, but I'm interested in your perspective about a situation where you thought you should be playing.
Johnson might have went through this. It mightn't have been Jake, but mate, we've all been through those situations, and the difference between having a good tourist on tour and being able to handle those situations is sometimes the difference in selection. Sometimes people don't react that well and they kick stones. It's all right to kick stones for a while, but you've got to get back into the team environment and do everything you possibly can to help your team get success. So the one thing George Bailey and Macra have done, they've communicated crystal clear with this group for a long time. I don't think that would have been an issue at all.
Now, when I brought up this subject, someone giggled in this room.
I've had a few.
So have you got a story here, have you?
I've got two, and I'll keep them short. But the best one was in the 2012 ODI World Cup. I was running drinks. I didn't play much of that World Cup, but we won. We celebrated like I played. But a batter went down in one of before the last group game. We were playing the West Indies. And at the time, it was me and Elise Villani on the sideline, and we looked at one another and we're like, someone's going to get a go in this World Cup. How good. And we high-fived one another. We didn't care who it was. We were like, one of us is going to get a go. We were the only batters on the sideline. They picked an extra bowler.
Oh.
So we went in with about 4.5 batters. We got pumped by the West Indies, which meant England got knocked out of the World Cup. So everything happened for a reason.
Yeah, that's good.
But that one was a hard one to take. And the only other one that I think of, which in hindsight I didn't really care about either at the time, is like, you rock up at Lords, cool, it's an Ashes series. What an amazing experience to play there. Got a tap on the shoulder from the selector. No conversation, just went benchy.
No convo.
Just like shattered a young girl's dream. But since playing there, I've played a few games at Lords now, and I'm like, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that one stung a bit, definitely.
I've got one from the early days with New South Wales because I started my career obviously in Canberra. So I played the first year with the Canberra Comets. Then I came to Sydney. I was in the squad. Phil Emery was still keeping. And halfway through the second year, ACT asked if I could come back and play the back end of the Mercantile Mutual. And I said, no. I'm New South Wales now. I've got to make my name here. And the selector said from New South Wales, I'll go, you're not in our plans. And I said, no worries. So that was fine. Yeah.
But you'd rather that than hanging on, not playing.
It gets better.
Yeah.
Or just tap, yeah. Benchy.
I
got 100. Then I think the next game I got 40 or 70. In the next one, I come back and the same selector said to me, why can't you do that for us?
Oh. Uncalled for?
My response,
not happy for you.
Well, my response was, you haven't fucking picked me. Then I just walked away. I don't think he laughed. I think that was his only year of selecting.
It's nice to know early because nowadays it's slightly different with concussion subs, but it's nice to know early that you're not playing because then you know what you need to do from a tour perspective about if you can go out for dinner a little bit later the night before, right? But it's the last minute, you're not playing tomorrow when you think you might get a chance. It sucks.
Back to this one, the Champions Trophy defeat for Australia against India in Dubai. Just some of the dismissals. Travis Head tries to hit Chakravarti to Abu Dhabi and doesn't come off. And Glenn Maxwell as well. 6, next ball, out. So do we look at it and go, if we had 20 or 30 more, India are under all kinds of pressure, these are reckless shots that shouldn't have been played, or they're in the moment shots, you deal with it?
I don't mind Travis Head's dismissal. I mean, there's a lot written about it. He's never played Chakravarti before. He has. He's played IPL. They've played against one another. Probably slightly different under lights, whatever it might be. But Headie's always going to look to take the game on. Yes, he probably might a little bit of a more of a look at him, but you could see throughout the overs that he bowled that not many people were picking him. They were trying to read him off the wicket. So you could see why he looked to take him down a little bit. Maxie's one for me probably hit a little bit harder in that if he's there at the back end with Alex Carey, takes a lot more pressure off Alex, and they get that 280 plus. And Maxie's a really good player of spin, especially through at the back end. All of a sudden, Mohammad Shami comes back, and Maxie's going to whack that as well. So, yeah, it's hard to say now what they should have done differently, but you probably want to have a little bit more of a look at Varun than first ball. But like I said, Travis is going to look to take him on, put him under pressure early anyway. But the surface was just offering enough and he just didn't quite middle it, really.
I think that was really good captaincy from India because they had a whole list of spinners to pick from. A couple of left arm spinners. If you put those on early against Travis Head, it's a big decision with that bowling change because Trav could actually hit you for 20 off that over. Then all of a sudden your tactics change from every end. So to put the mystery spin on where you got a little bit of doubt in your head, when you're facing that, yes, I'm going to load up, and they knew exactly the way Travis Head was going to play. And I heard Ashwin quoted afterwards that he said the big matchup was this matchup. Get him on early to Travis Head and use your wrong and to take the ball away from him because he's going to go hard at you. So they're the little matchups that people talk about on commentary that happen in team meetings. And this time worked in India's favour. That's the way Trav plays. I don't have a problem with what he's trying to do. He's won so many games playing that style, but that was actually really clever captaincy and planning.
Well, every time a new batter came in, Chakravarti came back on as well. Obviously, a lot of them haven't faced him, but it was like, okay, we're going to give you 2 overs, maybe 3 overs to look at him. We're going to rip him off, and then we're going to get a wicket down the other end because we've got the class of Jadeja, Akhtar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav as well. We're going to get a wicket, and then Chakravarti's going to come back on again. So you're right, clever captaincy, but maybe we could have held that end a little bit more. But you got to choose 1 or 2 spinners to attack, otherwise you're going to bleed out 220. So worth having a crack.
2 of the veterans for India, 30-somethings, Mohammad Shami, Virat Kohli, class again. So Mohammad Shami caused a few issues early, but ends up taking 3 for 48. Virat Kohli does it again. He averages 64.5 chasing in one dayers with 28 centuries. Also has the most 50-plus scores in ICC one-day events, passing Sachin's record. I mean, these two, Mohammad Shami didn't even set foot on Australian soil, unfortunately for India, during the Border Gavaskar Trophy. And Virat Kohli, apart from that innings in Perth, it was like he wasn't here with the bat. He was all at sea. If either of those two bring somewhere near their best for the majority of that series, are we talking about a summer lost for Australia as well, given how good they are?
We'll never know, Adam.
No, we won't, Heels, and that's a very good point. Thank you for shooting that question down in flames.
I think when you look back on the series, could India have taken the reliability of Mohammad Shami? Yes. Could they have taken a Virat Kohli making hundreds? Yes. So, yes, maybe the outlook might have been different. It might have also boosted Australia somehow as well. So we don't really know. But, yeah, I think Shami was a loss with the ball for them. Just showing how reliable he is. Hits a wicket hard. Hits a really good area most of the time. And that's what we spoke about all summer, that Bumrah had no help. And he would have been the perfect one for that.
Well, you speak about with the summer, Australia's only conversation was with their batters was, I just got to get through Bumrah. Every time he wasn't on the field, the game changed. So if you had someone like Mohammad Shami at the other end, you got a 1-2 punch maybe. Do I think the result would have changed? No. I don't. I think Australia were dominant. But Kohli's record chasing.
Yeah,
it was a shock actually he got out because watching, I think it was the 46th over, Nathan Ellis come on and got 1 run off it. And I thought, hang on a minute. We're a real chance here. I think they still needed 30 runs, was it? But he'd shut down the game. I thought, hang on, no Kohli here. And Hardik Pandya whacked a couple of sixes, but that was off the back of a lot of pressure. He got those away and he looks at it. But if he shanks one of those, mate, we're right in the game. It was a lot closer finish than it should have been. But Kohli, Steve Smith's the same. His record's similar in a run chase. They just understand the moments. You got to turn the pressure on. You got to absorb it. Kohli didn't hit many boundaries. He just hit the gap hard, ran, and controlled the tempo of the innings till they got the result in the end. And he actually showed his class. It wasn't a typical innings that you'd see in the modern game where 4s and 6s going anywhere. It was just craftsmanship. It was good to watch.
It's good. That's why I like one-day cricket, Adam.
Yeah, you got time.
I'm like the only one who seems to really enjoy it at the moment, but this is why I love it, because it's actually a skillful game and you got to use your gears. You can't just stand there and whack on flat wickets like you get in T20 cricket, and that's where the best players stand out, and Kohli just does it yet again.
Gowden Gambier, we'll leave this segment with this quote and your reaction to it. The India coach, this on India's advantage, playing all their games in Dubai. You might look at it and think, oh, yeah, it's a reasonable, handy thing to have. You don't have to go anywhere. You know exactly where your games are. You know exactly the surface. Gowden. There's a lot of debate about the undue advantage and all that. What undue advantage? We haven't practiced here even for one day. We're practicing at the ICC Academy, and the conditions there and here are 180 degrees different. Some people are just perpetual cribbers, man. They've grown up. They've got to grow up. So I feel that there was nothing like we had an undue advantage. Wouldn't have thought so.
Well,
I wouldn't say undue advantage. I'd say advantage. Like it's not like he has come up with the decision to take India out of Pakistan and play their games in Dubai.
Well,
get that the players have no say, but it's an advantage.
Well, Rohit Sharma came out and said as well that, like, this isn't our home. We actually don't play a lot of cricket here. So it's also, unusual for us to be here. And I completely get that. And I see their side of thinking as well that, they don't feel like there is an advantage. The only advantage I saw at one point, and I will voice it, is in an ICC event, getting practice facilities is hard work because more often than not, there's multiple teams coming in and out. So for the Women's World Cup, for instance, in Dubai, you had your 2 hours and then you had your 1 hour on the ground. You're often training with another side at the same time, and you got to get in and out real quick. The only one I saw was when Kohli was trying to get back into form. He rocked up 3 hours before their training session, and he was praised for that, which I love because he's committed to the cause. But in no other ICC event can you show up 3 hours before your training session and get a whole bunch of net bowlers in because there's often another team training. So that's where I would say they had an advantage, having the access to those facilities that whole time, and the size of those facilities was a huge advantage. Nobody else in Pakistan was getting that opportunity. So yeah, they can say all they like and they can shut that down, and they're well within their right to. But that was one for me where I was like, that's not happening in a lot of other places.
Well, you know what? If what he thinks there's true, okay, tick. The other thing about international cricket is you're on the road a lot, and if the Aussies are in Dubai, based in one hotel in the same spot, their families are allowed there, it becomes a lot more normal. In Pakistan, they're travelling from different ground, Lahore, Islamabad, so there's a lot of moving parts there. The training facility is the big one. Kohli had his hit. Yeah, mate, that's great. He had 3 hour hit. The boys wouldn't have got that in Pakistan. You're not allowed to. The rules are in an ICC event, you're actually not allowed to use those facilities. So it is an advantage to be in the same spot and have some normality the whole time. The other thing, Gambier, I'd be talking about, look, going into this final, Rahul, okay, he got 42 runs. He played similar to Kohli, controlled the game. It was a big call to play him. Like, Pant didn't play. And Gambier, I'm not worried about what he said there. He's under pressure. He was. He needed to get some results after the Australian summer. So to leave Pant out and go with Rahul, it's for that exact reason, and that they know the surface there. They know you're going to need not a power hitter at the end. You're going to need a technician, and that's exactly what he did. He held the game together. He batted in the middle order. No, he's not as explosive as Pant, and we all love to see the match winning, but that surface didn't suit Pant to play like that. So they had that advantage.
He's also a really good sounding board for Rohit Sharma. You watch it unfold on the field. Rohit's talking to Rahul a lot about who's bowling, what fields they should have. So there's obviously tactics behind why he is playing, but I agree, like, to have someone like that in the middle, but also have someone like that behind the stumps that the captain trusts and wants the opinion of is highly valued.
Well, we're looking forward to the Champions Trophy in Pakistan and the final. As we sit here right now, India awaiting their opponent, either New Zealand or South Africa, and that final of the ICC Champions Trophy for 2025 in Pakistan in Dubai. Back in a moment. Guys, just before we move on to a bit of Shield chat, or Shield froth, as we call it here on Willow Talk, big picture. So for the Australian men's one-day team, the next one-day World Cup is in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Namibia in October, November of 2027. So we've got time. there's plenty of time to plan over 2 years. The next one-dayers for Australia are v South Africa at the start of next summer. Is that the Northern Australia tour that is yet to have a venue? You'd imagine Darwin or the Great Barrier Reef Arena, one of the great names for a place. That will be a good tour. Golf clubs. But where are they at with this team? So you'd imagine that players like, I don't know about Steve Smith, actually. I think he loves it that much that he still could be going. But a Glenn Maxwell, for instance. Any others, maybe? Does this squad resemble what we might see for that next World Cup?
Well, after a big event, there's always conversations around, okay, now the planning starts for the World Cup, and the selectors will sit down, have that conversation, and whether you see, I'd imagine the South African the start of next summer, I think you'll see a really different Australian team. What those names are, I think over the next 6 months, there'll be conversations about who can get through, and then they'll have, say it's the 3 fast bowlers that they want to go. They'll have a plan for them to get through to 2027. And then on the flip side, if guys aren't going to go there, there'll be some tough calls made in this time now.
Yeah, I think a lot of that team that won the ODI World Cup probably have the right to sit down with coach and selector and go, do you want to be there in 2027? If they say yes, then they work out the plan and make sure it looks like it. If they say, that's stretching it a bit, then they go, great. And at least have that conversation early enough to go, okay, we're going to blood the next group in these next coming matches. I mean, even the T20s in the West Indies, I think, some of the big guys after a test series might not be there either because they're prepping for what's next. So I think it's a great opportunity to blood the next generation and make sure that we're strong for an extended period so that we're not like rebuilding all at once.
Could actually be Steve Smith's last time captaining in Australia. Kind of captain, obviously, when we bring up this, especially off Australian shores, there's one thing and one thing only going to be brought up. And we're going to skip over that because it's not really the question. The question is, what kind of captain do you think he's set his legacy as in terms of an on-field captain?
Well, I think Paddy's done a wonderful job with the test team. But in the subcontinent, Steve Smith's a better tactical captain. What they've set up there with Andrew McDonald, Paddy, and Steve Smith there now, and their senior players, it was a smooth transition for Steve Smith to take over in this event, and especially the 2 test matches he did in India. There was a noticeable difference.
Sri Lanka. India, a couple of years ago when Paddy came
India
home. Yeah,
and Sri Lanka, there's a noticeable difference in the tactics. Steve Smith reads the game as well as anyone in the subcontinent. Even to bowl Cooper Connolly, first change in this game, he's got a really good feel on the game over there. So I think it was actually an advantage for us to have him there to be able to step in and captain in the subcontinent because I think tactically he's our best captain in those conditions.
Yeah, I agree. I think I actually like watching it, how he goes about things. You can see his mind ticking away and he wants to make a change every single ball, but he knows he can't. And it might be frustrating for a bowler at one point in time, but at least you've got a proactive captain that's trying to take wickets and trying to move the game forward. So obviously we know what happened and why he wasn't captain, but I think that's a real shame. And I think he would have no doubt gone down as one of the best captains for this Australian team over a long period of time. I know Pat's had a lot of success since taking over, but Steve Smith might have well had that much success if it hadn't been for a bit of a blip that maybe he wasn't even a part of or control of, right? So, yeah, I love seeing him do it. And, yeah, whether that is the last time we see him do it, then that's a shame, but he's done a pretty good job.
Last one on the Champions Trophy, wrapping it up, and as mentioned before the break, the final on Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, India v, as we sit here right now, the undetermined opponent of either South Africa or New Zealand. Adam Zampa, a couple of hours after the loss, Zampa posted on Instagram a story wishing Josh Inglis a happy 30th birthday, and he just decided to post the photo of him with the 2023 World Cup trophy with him and Josh Inglis. So, yeah, I don't know if that was a dig at anyone or was just getting on with life and happy memories to help you through getting on with life for Adam Zampa, but that was on his Instagram, which is always entertaining.
I mean, if you're willing to cop the fallout, then do it. But it's just.
Can you imagine his DMs from the subcontinent?
I'm not sure he cares.
No, I'm not entirely sure he does either. Let's get to Sheffield Shield. It's a big week in Shield as we sit here right now. We're on the cusp of New South Wales v Victoria. New South Wales v WA at the Wacker, where WA haven't exactly been their imposing usual self, namely getting beaten by South Australia in 4 sessions. Victoria v South Australia in a rehash of the Dean Jones Cup from last weekend, this one a 4-dayer, and Tasmania v Queensland. So Tassie, Queensland, 2 bottom sides on the ladder, but both with a chance to move second if New South Wales and WA draw in the West. South Australia in control of their own destiny. Absolute lottery beneath it. Who do you reckon makes the final with 2 to go?
Well, South Australia will make the final, whether they're hosting it or not. And I tell you one thing that won't happen, it won't be a draw in the West.
Yeah.
With New South Wales, WA, with both teams needing to win and the surface that they've been playing on the last few games, this game's going to move fast. The interesting thing about this game is WA have played a lot of kids. Young Goodwin's been playing. They've tried a lot of different faces, which is great. But Green could be back. Lance Morris might be back in there. So, yeah, whoever wins this is a big chance of playing South Australia in the final. So, yeah, great opportunity.
South Australia, and my heart says New South Wales, but I actually think Victoria will get there.
Really? Yep. So Victoria win this one at home to put themselves in the box seat ahead of the last round of matches.
Because South Australia need to win 1 game to host?
Yep.
So I think Vic's have probably got to win 2. I think it wouldn't surprise me if Victoria make it.
Okay.
I hope New South Wales get there, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's South Australia, Victoria.
You know, that's blasphemy in this room.
I know, and I'll cop a heap for it, but...
What's that?
Well, saying anything bad about saying that New South Wales is not going to succeed at something, in your eyes.
Oh, it's all right. The Breakers won the final.
Mate, the Breakers won. They're all happy there.
Fair enough.
Mate, they need to start winning some titles this team.
Sundries. Darren Lehman. Big fan of Bazball. In an interview with the cricketer, new Northampton coach Darren Lehman said the following: "We don't want to be Bazball. They don't win. It's great, entertaining cricket, and I love the way they've gone about it, but they've gone too far now." Boof added, "The game is right between Bazball and where it was in yesteryear, and if we get our blokes playing like that, right between the two, in the Northampton way, we'll play good cricket and win."
Clearly he signed the contract first before he started unloading, but...
Well, the thing is that over there, county cricket, they're like their own little island, removed from the ECB.
Yeah,
you do what you want.
Yeah. And
they're actually flying the face of the ECB, so it's not dictated to from above that they have to play Bazball. I think, mistake me if I'm wrong, the individuals recognise that if they want to get into the test team, they have to play a certain way, but it doesn't look like Darren Lehman is going to be instructing his players to do that.
Well, it's probably a decision for the playing group, and Buff's going to lead it, is that, well, do we want to win titles or do we want to create English players? And that's probably a discussion for that group as to what they want to do individually. And then you got to buy into that as a collective.
Darren Lehman is about playing attacking cricket, but he's also about playing an attacking cricket to get you in a position to win. Yep. He's not just there to entertain. He will play ugly if you need to play ugly, but his number one focus is teaching cricket teams on how to win, and he wants them to entertain, but not at the expense of winning and losing.
Beth Mooney's been entertaining over in the WPL. Scored 96 not out in a dominant display for the Giants as they won by 81 runs against the Warriors. Would have been her first WPL century if she got a chance to make it, but didn't need to in the end. So
didn't need to. Got left stranded again. Loves a 90 score in T20 cricket all minutes, but I don't want to talk about it because I saw a video pop up on Instagram, This or That Wicketkeeper edition with Beth Mooney, and the first 2 that came up was Sarah Taylor or Alyssa Healy, and she didn't even hesitate when she said Sarah Taylor. So I don't even want to talk to Moons at the moment.
Let's get her on. Beth Mooney, if you're listening.
Yeah.
I'll quit the show.
Yeah.
Doors open. Walk straight through it, please. Hads is about to nick off to the IPL, so yeah, be a great addition with you two in here.
Might never see us both again. This might be our last show ever.
We're starting a golf podcast.
for you.
Heels and Hads, how to play golf.
I'll chime in with how not to. So that goes on, but good to see her in form. Heels.
She's in form. That competition has heated up. GG, Gujarat was sitting at the bottom of the table. UP Warriors was sitting third. After that result, UP Warriors at the bottom of the table and Gujarat is sitting third. So that is going to come down to the last round of games, which is cool, which is what you want. Yeah. But the Aussie girls are going well, and that's all that matters.
James Anderson has registered for the 100 draft. So, yeah, he's pretty keen on continuing his cricketing adventure and Heels.
Yeah, the old people in the draft.
You in?
Anderson.
Healy may have put her name in. She's looking for some cricket.
How do you do that? Do you email someone and say, I want in? Or
you just register, but you got to be approved.
Okay,
I found that funny.
Oh. You go on a portal and you literally go on a portal and
you set yourself up, set your reserve price and all this blah, blah, blah. But you look at, there's not many spots left for the international players. I mean, Jimmy Anderson will get a run, surely, but not a lot of spots left now that they've brought in that pre-signing rule. So it's actually will be hotly contested as to who people draft, but it's a great competition and good fun to be a part of. So
you could turn that into a frenzy. Because knowing now that you've gone into the draft, coaches might go, hang on a minute, I need a top spot available. If I get rid of this girl here, can I get her back cheaper and also get Healy? So just watch that space.
Trail of destruction.
I'm more nervous about putting my name into things like that and not getting picked up because I'm scared of rejection.
So. Don't worry, at this stage of your life. Yeah. Rejection's fine. Exactly. Who are you? Oh, dear. When is that draft?
It's coming out. It's like
soon?
10 days time.
10 days? Yep. Okay.
Watch the movement before.
Okay. And Hads, by the way, you're off to India on Monday. You won't be here from next week in the studio. Hopefully you will be back. Last in-person podcast for a little while, but safe travels and best of luck at the IPL. You've got an intense 10-day camp before you get rolling in Dharamshala.
We've got to get to know each other.
How do you do that, the IPL?
Introduce yourself, firstly. No, we'll have a few things planned. It's important.
Like a games night or something? Or a Pictionary? Or
different ways to get to know your different players. You need this period to find out how the individuals work because you can't just come in the modern game and coach everyone exactly the same. If you put too much pressure on one player, they mightn't respond. This guy might need more conversations. But it's a great opportunity, new list. New coach with Ricky. I'm looking forward to working with him. But yeah, it's exciting time. It's also a bit nerve-wracking walking into a new team to get to know everyone again. But once you've been there a little bit, you've had dinner together. But it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Any bonding exercises that you have? Like
not breezers.
No breezers. No, I'm not sort of talking alcohol. But like
having a breezer, they won't play. That's easy.
But team dinners and
they love a good movie night over there.
Movie night,
table tennis competition, and like that sort of stuff. They love.
Okay. I reckon that the best way to get to know everyone is the informal ways. Like you'll see different groups have lunch and dinner together, and you just put yourself in there. You ask questions. There'll be things you set up to bring the team together, and IPL is great for that.
The weirdest one I've heard in the last 12 months about a bonding exercise about to teach their players a lesson.
Kids are listening to this show.
No, this is a good one.
You said bonding.
This is a good one.
Oh, sorry.
That Mikel Arteta, the Arsenal manager, they had a pre-season team dinner to make sure that, setting standards and this is what we want for you. He had a professional pickpocketer go around and try and get the wallets out of players' things to teach them a lesson that they always have to be ready for the unexpected. Is that not the weirdest way to try and get your team on the same page?
I like it. That would generate good conversation at the end, and you'd have a good laugh to that.
Especially at the IPL. Imagine some of the wallets there.
They wouldn't be able to carry them.
Well, considering that Hardik Pandya is wearing a watch to play in that's worth more than I think 4 or 5 Pakistani players earn in a year, and Hardik Pandya is playing in it, I'd say that yes, pickpocketing in the IPL might be good. But good luck, Hads.
Yeah,
Go
good
Delhi.
luck, Hads.
Thank you. Hope they don't pick you up in the 100.
That was Willow Talk. Catch you soon. Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.